This live stream is sponsored by PSL, Sound, Light and Stage.
Well, a very good afternoon to you wherever you are watching our coverage on YouTube. This is the big dance. Tukapa and Clifton going toe-to-toe at Vogeltown Park for the CMK Premiership title. Will Johnson with you, and I'm joined here at a beautiful Vogeltown Park. Sam Fastia is alongside me. Sam, the pinnacle of Taranaki Club Rugby, and we're really looking forward to this one this afternoon.
That's right, Will. These clubs would have penciled this date in a long time ago, but we're left with two standing, being Clifton and Tukapa. Of course, Clifton undefeated heading into this match today, and Tukapa only going down to Clifton earlier in the season. So they've both been the competition front runners, really. Oh, it's going to be a brilliant day, and as you can see on screen, a really good crowd here has developed. A beautiful day that we have here, and a different initiative having the club finals at a club. Of course, the shortened first round, Moanga competitions, and of course New Plymouth Old Boys came out on top with that. So a different initiative for today, which is going to be fantastic for the punters here this afternoon. That's right, it's great to see the punters in full force here at the White House, Will. Plenty out and about. It's great to hear young kids, talking about Clifton being in the final, particularly given that they haven't been victorious since 1999 when Anthony Callahan kicked the last minute drop goal to end Old Boys' six winning streak in the competition. So they'll be looking forward to going back and reaching the pinnacle of Taranaki Club Rugby. Yeah, that YouTube footage that's out at the moment, certainly spine tingling, and hopefully for Clifton they can get another occasion like that. But we'll take a look at the weather forecast for today. As you can see, no real wind to speak of. A little bit chilly though, and fine weather though. A little bit of cloud cover coming through. But Sam, I guess looking at those conditions on screen, it won't impact the match too much. All in all, pretty good conditions for running rugby. Clifton will be looking forward to that. They've got plenty of speed out wide. Bit of snow on the mountain, but it's not a Taranaki winter's day without a bit of cold around, is it? Yeah, absolutely, and we might as well have a look at the two teams heading out today for the CMK Premiership final. In the Tukapa front row, we've got Thomas Edwards alongside Ricky Riccatelli with his Super Rugby experience, and Brendan Dent in the number 3 jersey, a late inclusion for Scott Mallow. In the locking department, we've got Leighton Price alongside Corbin Porteous, who comes in having missed last week due to illness. In the back row, Mairanga Lapo, Nathaniel Peters, who's a former New Zealand under-20 player, and Mitchell Croswell, who brought up 100 games for Tukapa this year at the back of the scrum. Moving along to the backs now, we've got Campbell Woodmasson at 9, a former Wellington NPC player, alongside Mason Porteous, who was in for Jason Potros, who's out from a rib injury last week. In the midfield, Pomari Simopu, who made a yellow card last week, so he'll be looking to shore up his discipline, alongside Lucas Halls, who's a hard-running midfielder. In the outside backs, Isaac Ratamai-Tavuki-Neepkins will be looking to be elusive, and Henry Miles will skipper from the right wing. And at the back, Jacob Ratamai-Tavuki-Neepkins, who will only need an ounce of space to make a big impact. Moving to the bench now, we've got Liam Burnett, who's 85 kgs, dripping wet, and he'll look to bring on a bit of impetus when he comes on. Luke Travitsky, Michael Nyson, Chris Jollins, who's of Scottish heritage, Rory Ward, Kian Tipu, who's from the Gold Coast in his first season with Tukapa, and Luke Taplin in the number 22 jersey, who scored a great try down the right flank at Sanders Park last week. Over to you for the Clifton side, Will. Yeah, thanks very much, Sam. Of course, Tukapa at full strength for this afternoon, and so the number 1 seeds heading into this game. O'Carroll, Harmy, Jared Prophet and Mike Kainga in the front row. Of course, Prophet and Kainga with Super Rugby experience. Jonatani Boy and Blair Shorten in the second row. Connor White, Reece Gray, Cole Blyde, the loose full trio. Very good loose full trio for Clifton this afternoon. A 4-pack that will no doubt get stuck in here today. And as we move to the back line, a backline that has been full of talent, full of experience, and they're on form as well. Led by Liam Blyde, the captain, and Matty James, experience in Manawatu and also in France as well. Josh Setu and India Soatuahuta on the wings. The midfield, Daniel Rona, Fatuuma Morahu Leota, and Maddie McKenzie at the back. So plenty of talent on show this afternoon, and a lot of players in that backline have also been called up into Taranaki. The bench full of experience with Abe Hera, along with Taylor Haskell and Kenny Naholo, and the others there looking to get on a little bit later on this afternoon. Tobiah Barraclough out of New Plymouth Boys High School, and he is the reserve halfback for this afternoon. So both teams at full strength, and it's a mouth-watering prospect.
Colin Cooper, of course, the coach of Clifton. Ben Safleet, the coach of Tukapa. And if I was a betting man and there was a TAB going for this one, in my view, I can have opinion, given I'm not involved in the game. Clifton $1.30, Tukapa $1.80. What do you reckon?
Yeah, not far off the mark there, Will. Obviously, Clifton been unbeaten all season, so they're probably the front runners. Having said that, Tukapa will welcome back a few Super Rugby players from that match that weren't there in the competition round match between these two sides. So it's bound to be a cracker, I think.
You're just having a look at the last couple of games here of the season. Tukapa beating New Plymouth Old Boys last weekend in the semi-final, 37-23. Clifton did the job at home, 34-13 against Stratford Eltham. And of course, some really good performances there. Stratford Eltham and Inglewood. Tukapa beat both of those teams. And Clifton with a very good win against Coastal. And of course here at Vogeltown Park a few weeks ago, 35-25 against New Plymouth Old Boys. So, of course, both teams come in with a lot of form. Clifton #1 seeds, Tukapa second after the regular season, and obviously got through their semi-final. So it's going to be tight. And look at this crowd; it's unbelievable here. And I hope that a lot of people hang around afterwards to support Old Boys. They've put on a great show. Sam, you've been here for most of the day. A lot of excitement around the day, isn't there? Not just this game, but throughout the whole afternoon. That's
right. It's great to see all the club teams get in behind and support their teams, and it really has that vibrancy and great feel around it. Going around the grounds, we had Old Boys beating Tukapa in the Div 1 game. In the Div 2 competition, Kaiteki having a good win against Kaponga, but good to see them strong this year, having been second to last in the competition last year, so well done Kaponga. And in the Colts game, Old Boys beating Stratford Eltham. So a good variety of clubs represented, and it's great to see kids around the ground really excited about seeing their teams and friends and family playing out in front of these, good contingent of crowd. So
yeah. It's certainly a great feeling, and we're not too far away from kickoff here at the White House, as it's called. And talking to Ben Safleet and Liam Blyde on the radio this morning, obviously a little bit of nerves and something a little bit different playing here at a club ground. Traditionally played at Yarrow Stadium, TT Stadium in Inglewood, and also had a couple of finals down at Hicks Park in Harwater. But Old Boys have done a great job. You can see on screen marquees being put up. We've got obviously live streaming for most of the finals here this afternoon. And this is the pinnacle of the day. And fair to say, Sam, too, that both teams come into this final with very, very similar game plans. There's our drone footage. You can just see it. The mountain is out in full swing. It's, yeah, I mean, that's just amazing, isn't it?
That's right. Plenty of snow on the mountain, which we always like to see. But, yes, you're right, Will. Both teams really like to use the ball. Clifton have 25 tries amongst between Liam Blyde and Dia Sayatui Huta and their other winger, Josh Setu. So 2 wingers and a halfback. They've scored, along with Matty James and the 10 jumper, they've scored over 70% of their points. So they really like to spread the ball and use the width. So, and Tukapa do as well. They've obviously got Jacob Ratamaitavuki Neepkins at the back with that Super Rugby experience. Plenty of speed to burn. So any space for those outside three for both teams, and they'll be punished. So really looking forward to that.
You've done your research. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, yep, no, it's good. It's pretty incredible, really. Clifton to have the 3 top competition try scorers in their ranks is unheard of. So it'll be really interesting to see how those wingers, when they get a bit of space, how they look to exploit it.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's more of the drone footage from Billy Preston. You can see over to the right-hand side there, Yarrow Stadium without an east stand if you are watching from other parts of the world. Obviously earthquake prone, and they're doing a little bit of work to get it back up and running for the 3rd NPC match. Bunnings NPC match when Taranaki host Waikato. And if we pan around just to the right-hand side, the home of Tukapa was there. A couple of subdivisions around as well here. And not a car park in sight by the looks of that.
No, you would have been pushing to find a car park having come from the Taranaki Fio game, I imagine,
yes.
Will. It would have been tough work.
There's some of the other presentations happening on the other field with other matches that have just concluded. And a big crowd here again. And it's always heavily supported. I remember this time last year it was a howling gale. There was mud everywhere. It was an awful day. But today, a complete contrast to that.
That's right, and it's great that we've got the 2 types of teams that will play an enterprising brand of rugby that can really exploit these types of conditions. So I think we're in for a real cracker here, Will.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Clifton club heading out now, led out by their captain, Liam Blyde. And behind him, Daniel Rona. There's Matty McKenzie in the centre of screen, picked up a Taranaki contract for this season. And a player who's been toiling away for the last couple of years. Nice to see him rewarded. But looking forward to the backline getting into work across the whole season. Clifton, they've played 11, they've won 10. They lost their first game against Inglewood at TET Stadium in the shortened first round. And coming out very shortly, walking down the, I guess the quite a traditional walk. Henry Miles taking his time for the Bees, or the Division 1 side, to welcome them out onto Vogeltown Park. Ironically, the home of the arch rivals New Plymouth Old Boys. Henry Miles, one of those keen players, and he's got a lot of experience in the Taranaki B team as well, over 100 games for Tukapa, and welcomed out here onto Vogeltown Park by some of his club teammates. Certainly a lot of focus on the faces of the Tukapa players and their reserves behind them as well. And nice to get an applause too from a lot of the fans here this afternoon. 4,000 expected, Sam, so it's going to be a cracker.
Very strong crowd, of course, Will, and it's great to see club rugby really in full flow here at Vogeltown Park. So it'll be Clifton playing left to right on your screen. Looks like Matty James to kick off, of course, the former Manawatu player, originally from Opanaki, but he's obviously plying his trade north of the Waikato River today in the Clifton jersey. And Cam Stone, of course, Will. Big day for him.
Massive day for Cam Stone, our number 1 ranked referee. 100 Premier game today, and it's a unique occasion. His 3rd consecutive final, his 4th overall, controlled the 2013, 2020 and 21 finals, and now today as well. So congratulations to Cam Stone, his assistants, Paul Williams, international experience, of course, and Rowan Gladding, who had his couple of Premier games this year. So an experienced trio in charge of this game this afternoon. Matty McKenzie will kick off as the music fades away. Cam Stone will check with
players will go white and blue.
Teams.
White and blue. Happy?
Getting the numbers sorted.
You guys happy?
Matty James to kick off for, and we're underway here at Vogeltown Park. The finale, a year's worth of rugby, is on the line. Nicely taken there by Leighton Price. They get them all driving here to Tukapa, just outside from their 22. Campbell Woodmass is the halfback in 9. He'll box kick early. And chasing is number 11, Isaac Matavuki Neepkins, and Matty McKenzie at the back, reliable. Offloads to Liam Blyde, leading try scorer this year, and a bit of tit for tat at the moment. Down there to Mason Porteous, a late addition in this team. He can get up and run again up towards the 10-metre line. Jason Potros, of course, ruled out because of that injury. And Ratu Matavuki Neepkins will be bundled out into touch, and the first set piece of the afternoon.
Yes, as we go to a line-out here, Will, of course, the number 6, Connor White, will be throwing in. A bit unconventional from the Clifton boys, but obviously got that big front row, and they used the number 6 to throw in. So obviously good to see a bit of, throwing the old textbook out the window.
Absolutely, and the first throw is on target here for Clifton. Liam Blyde, James in midfield. There's Reece Gray, the 7. And nice little run by him as it's quick recycle here for Clifton. Out to that left-hand side, Matty McKenzie in from fullback. That's Setu, Josh Setu. And so far it is positive stuff for Clifton, the number 1 seeds. Blyde in their position again. That's O'Carroll Harmy, the prop, running it up forward. James is there. And that's a boy in number 17, but I think he's the number 4 here for Clifton this afternoon. Trying to get over the ball is Tukapa, but no cigar. James again, they swing it away to the short-hand side, and immediately straight through the gap, or almost as Morahu Leota. It's going to be really physical at the breakdown here this afternoon. It's a little bit loose.
Hold here.
But all the officials are happy. Blyde to James again. That's Reece Gray, wrapped up by Ricky Riccatelli. He's got to be careful
there. We've got 2 here.
And we're going to be mic'd up by the referee, so nice to hear the decisions. And I believe that one, all players are pinned in there and can't roll away, so benefit of the doubt.
That's right, yeah, I think it's the right call, Will. Obviously, tricky when the tackler gets pinned in there and can't get out, so we'll go to the first scrum. It'll be very interesting up front, obviously. We've got O'Carroll, Harmy, Profit and Kainga up against Edwards, Riccatelli and Brendan Dent, who's obviously the late inclusion for Scott Mallow. Brendan Dent, renowned for his scrummaging, very strong up front, so it'll be very interesting to see how things pan out in that front row contest.
Scott Mallow injured. What's the go in the camp there?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there. Obviously a late pulling for Tukapa, so that's a shame for him, but obviously a good chance for Brendan Dent in the starting number 3 jersey.
Crouch!
So a chance here for Cam Stone to get the setup right. Generally, as a referee, if the setup is good, the scrum's going to go well. And the first set piece stable. Off the back, it's an 8-9 play. The two Blyde brothers working in tandem. Mackenzie caught up by Samupu. He's physical and expect him to make some big tackles here today. Clifton inside the 22. Blyde waiting for it there. And they're going to run onto it. I think that's Mike Kainga running the ball up. They switch it away back to that right-hand side. Quick hands here. Josh Setu. In fact, I think the two wingers have actually switched numbers. That's India Soatuahuta in jersey 11, and Josh Setu on the other side in 14. So
Look at the touch.
Maybe the jerseys don't really fit heading into the game. Not sure.
Just playing tricks on the commentators, I think. Will.
Easy to make that change. Ricky Riccatelli, his first throw of the afternoon. Profit coming through and just putting a little bit of disruption onto Dent. But Tukapa have it. Woodman, in fact, it's Ricky Riccatelli going back and playing halfback. Not a bad pass, and Porteous will kick.
Well done.
And Paul Williams with his flag up almost hits our scaffold, and we'll have another line out, effectively where the last one was.
Riccatelli's always been a bit of a forward or back in a forward's body, and you can see there playing scrum half and doing an able job of clearing out there. And we'll have a line out about 25 metres out from Tukapa's goal line.
White. New Plymouth Boys High School, first 15 in his day as well. Originally from South Taranaki, coming to play for Clifton and doing a good job too. Nice line out here for Clifton. They can set it up. India Soatuahuta in from the wing, running it up into the midfield. Blyde again, away to that left-hand side. James distributes, and he's done that so many times. And Morahu Leota again goes to deck. Now, it's been turned over though, so Tukapa have a chance to bang it down into Clifton's half for the first time. How's the bounce of the football? Might have. Is that out on the full, is it? And it is. Rowan Gladding comes back to the mark. So an early error there from Tukapa. Wasn't quite sure who made the kick. And just get some of those early nerves just settle down a little bit, Sam.
Yeah, one of those signs that goes either way or the other. And inches in it by the looks there on Pomari Samopu's kick. Just out on the full, but it was a good steal in contact by Pomari Samopu there. So some good defensive work and slightly unlucky on the execution of the kick.
Blair Shorter goes up for it, and a little bit messy at the back there, but they do have control through Blyde. They get it to Kainga. Obviously 12 games for the Hurricanes, 3 for the Chiefs in his day too. Reliable to have him in the forward pack. Daniel Rona, his first touch of the afternoon. They get it out wide, and here's Soatuahuta around the outside. We've seen that so many times. Kick and chase. Ratu Matavuki Neepkins goes back for it. He can't carry that back, remember, and they're under all sorts of pressure at the back. Is it carried back? What's the call? Yeah, it is. So early pressure again from Clifton, and they'll get a scrum 5 metres out. So you might expect them to put it all into this one to get that penalty. We'll drive it over.
Well, you can see there just how explosive India Soatuahuta is. Bit of space on that right-hand flank, put a nice little kick in behind, and Rashomai Tavuki Neepkins did a good job cleaning up. Of course, we're not playing the dropout rule in club competition, so we'll go to a 5 metre scrum, and Clifton will be looking to attack from this platform. I suspect an 8-9 between the Blyde brothers. Of course, Cole, the former first 15 captain at New Plymouth Boys High School, but his brother Liam with the captain's armband today, so they'll be no doubt dangerous off the back of the scrum.
Yeah, well, Cole has captained this side before, and obviously with Liam's experience in Taranaki and so forth, that's probably why he's got the nod to captain this year under coach Colin Cooper. Another scrum, 5 metres out here. Clifton will feed, and players screaming, and it is out. So Liam Blyde gets it off to Rona. Taken by Porteous, that's a good tackle, and he needed to make that as well. They go around that short side. That was Reece Gray there in 7. Blyde there, back again, couple of one-off runners. Cole Blyde's going to score into the posts. First blood in the final.
The Premiership final
goes to Clifton,
number 8,
and they get that early lead with 7 minutes gone. Fantastic off the set piece. It may have been a little bit awkward there at the back. And here's the replay.
Nice ball from Liam to his brother Cole. A bit of space and he goes under the post for the day's first try. We knew the Blythe brothers would be explosive around the ruck today, Will, and it just shows in that first try there.
And Matty James, I should say, a lot of Matties, looking to add the extras right out in front to give Clifton a very good lead, and they've had all the ball so far in the first 8 minutes. And when Tukapa's had the ball, unfortunately, they have made an error. So that has really been costly, I guess.
Successful there,
and the conversion looks really good from Matty
Clifton
James.
Lead after 8 minutes of play by 7
points to nil here at Vogeltown Park. But Tukapa running back to halfway, ready to go as this big crowd here at Vogeltown Park enjoy it.
It's been a pretty clinical start from Clifton so far. They've held the ball well and they've been probing around the edges as well, which has been some very good play around those edges for them.
Porteous with his first restart of the afternoon and goes into the 22, and Ratamatavuki Neepkins lost a little bit of control there, but I don't believe there's been a knock on. There may have been a call there come from the assistant referee that Cam Stone is processing, and there it is. So Tukapa on the front foot immediately after that try. Woodmass gets it off to Ratamatavuki Neepkins, out to the back line again. There's his brother Jacob flinging it wide, and tackled and held up on that far side of the field. Woodmass gets it off to Lucas Halls. There's Croswell, reliable player, and he's rangy and elusive as well. Ball off the deck here. Running onto it is the other Cordius brother, and Corbin didn't play last week, but he's there this week. An advantage being applied here as the kick over the top. They'll probably come back for this one. I think it was a high tackle that Cam Stone has pulled up. So helter-skelter stuff when Tukapa's got the ball. And it started from that knock-on from the kickoff.
That's right. Tukapa's first real chance was ball in hand, and they look good with it. Going out wide to Ratamatavuki Neepkins on that right-hand flank. Any space for him, and he's dangerous. So we've got a penalty in front, and looks like Tukapa's going to take the shot. I'm guessing it'll be Mason Porteous with the kicking boots, with Jason Potros, of course, out with a rib injury. So he's been a pretty reliable kicker for the most of the season, with Potros being out with a shoulder injury for most of the season. So it's been a bit of a disruptive one for him so far. He'll obviously be looking forward to the Taranaki season, hopefully, and getting those injuries all in line. Yeah,
he's got to look after himself, and I think, given he's a contracted player, he's got to look after himself to make sure that he is available for the Bulls season. So usually in finals footy, they take the points when they're on offer, and Mason Porteous will look to do that effectively right out in front, maybe just to the right-hand side of the uprights here at Vogeltown Park. As we said before, no real wind to speak of, so as you can see the flags in the top right, not fluttering it at all. So hopefully an easy chance for Porteous. And certainly is. So Tukapa on the board, but Clifton have the 7-3 lead here at Vogeltown Park. Nearly 11 minutes gone here this afternoon. So Matty James back into position at halfway, like he did when he started this match here. Hold it harder. Push it harder. Who's going to grab this one? It'll be Isaac Ratamatavuki Neepkins, and he tries to break away from the tackle of White. Riccatelli now goes straight into his other front row opposite. O'Carroll Harmy. Woodmass with the box kick. Goes down into the reliable hands of Mackenzie, and he takes off though into contact. Riccatelli eventually to make the tackle. Blythe though is there. Here's Reece Gray now. Riccatelli again making another tackle. James now in midfield. Thought about passing, delayed it, and then went again. They switch it away back to this near side here. James in position. Reece Gray with a knock on. So a little bit of advantage being applied here as Tukapa have the ball now. Porteous to Dent. Ratamatavuki Neepkins, that's Jacob in from fullback. Advantage over from the knock-on. Samupu now. Ball out the back door. In fact, he held on to it. Dent. Carry up into Mike Kainga. Big man on little man there. Only one way that's going to go. And Ratamatavuki Neepkins goes for the 50-22. Mackenzie, though, back into position in front of that big crowd there on the far end of the field.
Watch it.
And he may have banged that into touch, and we will have a line out.
Nice little passage of play there. Mackenzie spotted the gap on the right-hand flank and made some good inroads, but the Tukapa cover defence doing a good job, and a bit of back and forth with the kicking, and we'll go out to touch with the Tukapa throw on the halfway mark. Riccatelli already making plenty of tackles and in the thick of it.
Oh yeah, just look at his jersey. Certainly a promising hooker. Of course, experience for the Hurricanes and more recently the Blues. 47 games for Taranaki, will no doubt get the half century later on this year. As the ball from the top of the line out is good from Tukapa. There's Porteous again, up towards the halfway mark, and it could have been turned over. Reece Gray's over the ball. And an interesting option here, whether they go for the kick or they plug the line out.
Will be interesting. Well, Matty James, of course, is the competition leading point scorer with 79, so he's been pretty reliable with the boot all season. Finals footy, you want to take the points, but I suspect they might go for the corner. Ooh, no, they don't.
Yeah, Mark Shaw running the tee on. He was on there early before the decision was made, so that's the intention, obviously, from Clifton. And we're almost hitting the 14-minute mark here, and a 50-metre penalty coming up here for Matty James. 79 points in the regular season, coming second behind Daniel Waite from New Plymouth Old Boys. And interesting to see what happens here with this 50-metre attempt here from James. I reckon he's going to get it.
Yeah, it's a big kick, but he's obviously been reliable all season, so it'll be interesting to see if he can knock this one over the post.
There's a hush around the ground.
It's almost like when you're at those Irish stadiums and they be quiet for the kicker and show a lot of respect. It's good to see.
Yeah, it is great to see. Here's the attempt from Matty James. It may have just dropped a little bit short, but it was certainly on target. Apart from the distance, and they'll come back for the 22 Tukapa. But again, when points are on offer, they're going to take them, aren't they?
He gave it a good thump. Just going under. Direction was good.
Yeah. So Porteous directing the troops, making sure they're behind him. Of course, they can't be in front at the restart. Certainly an area the referees are pretty tough on. So to a hooter. Rona, now this is Mackenzie looking to get past Verona and then finds a little bit of a hole up towards the 10-metre mark. A good break there from Clifton, and they're still going to get the ball out to this near side. Boy knocks the ball on, running out of space. After Matavuki Neepkins stabs it down, and no advantage coming from that, so they'll come back for the scrum.
But you can see already Matty Mackenzie again there probing from the back. Ball in hand, he's looking dangerous and showing, you know, why he's been picked on the Taranaki team as a contracted player this year.
This got a break in play. The Taranaki Rugby Football Union would love to see you at Pukekura Park.
So just a time off here. I think Cam Stone just going to have a bit of a chat to Paul Williams, the assistant referee.
Available, so get along, get in touch with the Taranaki Rugby Football Union and get along and support the Taranaki Bulls.
Nice drone footage. Billy Preston operating that. I think Max O'Leary on. Just having a look at the comms. I think there might be a few technical issues. Good to see Paul Williams back involved in club rugby. Of course, he refereed the deciding test match between Australia and England last week. And when he's back in town, he always makes himself available for club rugby. So it's nice for him to be giving back here on a massive day for not only the players, but also the referees as well.
That's right. Terrific to see, coming back to the community, to the grassroots of the game, which we know is so important for, you know, as you progress through the grades, the grassroots is where it all starts. So great to see him back, not only in, you know, for referees, but for players as well. So it's great to see the likes of looking there, and Riccatelli, a number of Super Rugby players playing today as well. Great to see them representing their clubs with such pride and willing to come back and play.
Fantastic, and that's what people love too, because they can see these players and referees on TV, and then when they come back into club rugby, they're there and they're willing to, you know, engage with the community and have those positive relationships, and also give back to the clubs and the game as well. And after that stoppage, scrum here to Tukapa, Woodmess to feed, and don't think they were hitting straight though, were Clifton. Yeah, that's the signal from Stone in his 100th Premier match this afternoon. And that could be maybe the second penalty of the afternoon. So free flow in action after 16 minutes of play.
Yeah, that's right, Will. Just looked like Okarohami just bored in a little bit at the scrum time there. So Tukapa will enjoy spending a bit of time in Clifton's half when Porteous finds touch here.
Good nudge downfield too, halfway between the 22 and the 10-metre line. Riccatelli with another one, and Tukapa would love to capitalise on this opportunity here inside Clifton's half. Clifton have got the lead 7-3, 17 minutes gone or so. Price goes up with it. We've seen that so many times this year. Lapo was there at the back of the line out. Here's Samupu now. The tackle really had to be made by Connor White, and they've got good ball here. Do Clifton. Porteous now. Lucas Halls goes into his opposite, Daniel Rona, and Clifton just trying to hold him up.
Oh!
It is a clear maul, so the ball is there straight away. Risk getting the turnover there in those situations. Riccatelli off to Dent. The two front rowers working really well in tandem. Kainga had to make the tackle. Ratu Matavuki Neepkins there. It's a loose pass. Samupu has got to tidy up because James was right there willing to pounce on any loose ball for Clifton. But Tukapa though, just outside the 22. Head down is Riccatelli. And he can get up and play the ball. That's okay. Another switch back towards this left-hand side. Samupu now, they're in a bit of space. Here's Lapo now, foot down, fires it back in field. Ball is still in play. Croswell, eyes up the try line. Clifton having to make their tackles. Woodmass now again. And there's Thomas Edwards, who played really well in that semi-final last weekend at Sanders Park on their home turf. As they spin the ball out in the back line, there's Porteous now. Ratu Matavuki Neepkins, that's Jacob! Oh my goodness, straight through the gap and he scores. Like he did last week. And Tukapa get their first try of the afternoon, just shy of the 20-minute mark.
It was a great run there from Jacob Radamaitavuki Neepkins going back against the current. Spotted a bit of space. We knew he's dangerous with any space. As we go to the replay now, seeing him dot down. But it was Mairanga Lapo on that left-hand flank that made the initial break, and he's been a frequent try scorer for Tukapa. Likes to hang on that left-hand or right-hand flank and make some good runs. He made the initial break. They come back across the Radamaitavuki Neepkins, and he finishes the job off. Great Tukapa try.
Yep, and we were just talking about the Super Rugby players, weren't we? And there's one already making an impact. So Tukapa with the 1 point advantage here, with the kick to come to Mason Porteous. And look at that sight there. Big crowd, a couple of thousand people in this afternoon. The field is in good condition. And I'll speak about the preparations in just a moment as the kick goes over.
Successful there from Tukapa,
and they extend that lead. Tukapa out to 10-7 here at Vogeltown Park.
Clifton just coming up in the 20th minute of this one.
Of course, the CMK Chartered Accountants are proud supporters of both club rugby and Taranaki, so make sure you use them for any of your accounting needs. Proud supporters for quite a while now of Taranaki and club rugby.
Yeah, John Dasley picking Clifton to win this one, talking to him during the week. So Matty James will get things back underway again after the Jacob Ratu Maitavuki Neepkins try. And there's his brother Isaac now. Two very promising players. Riccatelli shorter with the tackle. In fact, it was Connor White who eventually took him down to ground. Woodmass will direct the troops. And another box kick. Isaac Ratu Maitavuki Neepkins chasing. Oh, bit of a collision there, but I think that's okay. Both players had their eye on the ball. India Sawatuahuta kicked it downfield, but I think there may have been a knock on there. As we have a look at it again, both players looking at the ball. I think that's just a fair contest, I think, that Cam Stone's ruled.
Agree. Genuine contest there between Radamaitavuki Neepkins and McKenzie. Those ones can get a bit hairy sometimes, and we've seen in the last few years, cards given for those sorts of things. So good that neither of the two players there were injured, but obviously good contest with the high ball in the air.
So another scrum, and field looking in relatively good condition. They had a match on it prior. I think the under-20s game was the first one on the card. It was played on the number 1 field. And talking to Keith Mawson during the week, the club captain here, or the chairman, saying that the council have really looked after the venue, mowed it, rolled the ground. They've picked up rubbish and tidied up a couple of areas, but yeah, all fields look good. It's been a relatively okay week weather-wise, yesterday and today, that the pick of the bunch, but not a lot of rain, and obviously no impact so far. It's an 8-9 play, though, for Tukapa. And there's Mason Porteous in for Potros, running it up. Rona there, careful that he can't really lie there, but no impact on play. Woodmass, they go behind those one-off runners. Ratamatavuki Neepkins goes to his brother. There's Jacob, nice little pass off there. I think that was Porteous there. Reece Gray trying to get over the ball, but it is there for Tukapa. Porteous with a run. Woodmass again. There's Henry Miles, the captain. Ratamatavuki Neepkins again out the back door. Lapo, who's been floating around. India, Soatua Huta now comes away with it. A nice little step around the outside. He's got Ratamatavuki Neepkins with him. And a good tackle there needed to be made by Jacob. And he could win the penalty here. It's a great turnover. That is good work there from Tukapa, scrambling back on defence. And they can look to kick and settle things down a little bit. Woodmass, off it goes to Porteous now. Bangs it downfield. This one hasn't found touch. Play continues. Rona to Josh Setu, the other winger, who wants to get involved in the action. He goes around the outside. Price coming up and making the hit on the 10-metre line. Tukapa have got good numbers there, but Clifton retain possession. Reece Gray shorter now, running onto it. In fact, that was Cole Blyde and jersey number 8, both wearing the headbands. James now with a dummy. Referee playing advantage. They may have come up offside here. Yep, and that's the call there. So Mike Kainga rumbles it forward over the halfway line. Blyde now across a couple of players. Setu now, off it goes. Motohahu Leota around the outside in front of the Tukapa bench there. And they'll come back for the penalty. We can take a bit of a breather. That was all go there for a moment, Sam. I'll take a drink.
What a passage of play there. You can just see Ndiha Sayatui Huta any ounce of space and he's away. We've seen all season that, you know, he gets those breakaways and there's no catching him. Lucky for Tukapa, they had Jacob Ratamatavuki Neepkins at the ready to make the tackle, but more importantly, make the turnover. But we'll go to a Clifton penalty. Very explosive piece of passage of play there.
Yeah, great turning point there, that turnover from Neepkins. Certainly a tackle that needed to be made, a turnover that absolutely had to come. But already coming up 24 minutes gone in this game. Tukapa with the 10-7 advantage, but you can see that both teams are going to be willing to throw the ball out wide, find that gap, and play an exciting brand of rugby. Very similar game plans, don't they?
That's right, Will. It's great to see. Very much enterprising rugby, you know, throw the ball around, which is sort of right at the core of New Zealand rugby's sort of ethos in terms of, you know, spreading the ball wide and good running rugby, and both these sides really epitomise that sort of attitude.
So time is off here for some reason.
Time's still off, so when you're ready.
I think someone is having a bit of a breather as Connor White waits to throw it in.
All good. Time on. Hold.
Line out for Clifton just outside the 22 and Tukapa's half. 24.5 minutes gone in the CMK Premiership Grand Final here. Shorter now. Boy has to tidy up at the back, but they get it into the back line. Rona, flat pass now. Up to the 22. Knock on though coming. And Laporte tidies up. Isaac Ratamatavuki Neepkins clears. Advantage surely will be over. Yep. So Clifton have an opportunity now to reset. Soatua Huta look to kick and then straight into Porteous now. Big tackle there. Blyde off to the left-hand side to Gray. Kainga running onto it. Loves to have a run with the ball, the big fella. Here's Boy again. Ricky Riccatelli there with Dent. The two players working well to make the tackles. They fling it out to the backline. Mackenzie now. Connor White. Soatua Huta now for the corner. He's got Ratamatavuki Neepkins again. Another try-saving tackle by the Blues representative. Already those boys making an impact out wide.
Another display of Ratamatavuki Neepkins' defensive skills today. He's covered defence beautifully there on Sayatui Huta. who's really made a name for himself in terms of, you know, scoring from those breakaway positions. But Ratamai Tavuki Neepkins doing a fine job on the cover defence there.
Hey there, guys.
So Tuahuta, of course, played sevens for Samoa in the early competitions this
Stay
year.
off his shoulder.
And another penalty there from
Stay
Stone.
off his shoulder.
Hasn't been a lot of whistle, though, in the first
shit.
26 minutes.
Just right on the top of the
Just
And
nice
they-
little piggyback exit here for Tukapa with that penalty, as Porteous will look to find touch.
Yeah, I think in the contest there, just an arm going on the shoulder, which they can't do at line-out time. And nice to have the referee mic'd up for these matches. Riccatelli to throw for Tukapa,
guys,
just
let's go.
outside the 22. Stone making sure nobody slows play down and they're not hanging out the back there. And Tukapa now form up. Croswell and Price there. Croswell, in fact, it's gone over Croswell to
over.
Nathaniel
Well,
Peters. They'll get the drive going here for a bit, though, to
Ball,
Tukapa.
guys.
Riccatelli has it at the back. Woodmass directing the
Flick over him,
troops.
flick over him.
I think a box kick might be coming. Shorter coming through the middle. That's okay. Disrupting things a little bit. It's a little bit awkward, though, for Porteous. Kainga with the tackle. Woodmass goes back, and Ricky Riccatelli wants it. And he grabs it and runs into his opposite, Jared Prophet.
Use it.
Now they'll set the box kick up here. I think they were meant to do it a couple of phases ago. And just had to get things going. But that's another great chase. The two wingers, again, working
Nothing
well.
in that. Nothing
And
in
they've
there.
decided to play on.
Nothing in that.
Just a contest there. And I think the kick was out on the full, so they'll come back for that one. But yeah, Ratamai Tavuki Neepkins up against Tuahuta. It's a good prospect in itself, isn't it? Little games within the game.
A great aerial contest again there. We've seen two of them in the space of a couple of minutes. And it's great to see, you know, players competing for the ball in the air and obviously doing it in a safe manner as well.
And in finals, you don't really want to push the boundaries because if there's a card, then it could be curtains for a team. That's really the difference, those little things. As there's one against the throw here. Clifton on the front foot, Rona, cut out pass, and there's Setu now. And his opposite is Henry Miles, the captain for Tukapa. He makes the tackle. Blyde to James, to Cole Blyde now on the charge.
Tackle, guys, tackle.
Edwards and Dent
Stay out now.
try to hold him up. And they move it away to that left-hand side. Matty McKenzie has certainly been used for Clifton to run it up. Connor White trying to get held up.
Hold.
But it is there for James again. Cut out pass right in front. Kainga.
Ball out, play on.
Ball's laid back. That's a great contact there. It's Mitchell Croswell. And the ball was out, said Cam Stone, so he can come from an onside position and make the tackle. Sayatui Huta in from the wing.
Ball's available, stay out.
Blyde goes in and grabs it. Good passage of play here for Clifton, but they're not really gaining any metres, just going lateral at the moment. But what can they do here? James, he tried to get the pass off to Rona. He's complaining that he's been taken out, and they've got the turnover.
Front of the ball.
And I think that was Maringa Lapo who got that one.
Mark's here.
And I think they're just off the mark. But that's good patience from Tukapa on defence.
That's right, well, very good patience. Clifton didn't make a lot of inroads there after putting a lot of phases together, and then Mairaga and Lapo doing a fine job over the ball, earning Tukapa a penalty to get outside their own half.
Daniel, you've gone straight in front of the ball in his zone. He's going at the ball. Yeah.
Cam Stone explaining the decision. And a line out between the 10 and the 22 here, just in front of our scaffold. The temporary infrastructure here. And certainly a lot of marquees up here this afternoon, along with the temporary seats that have come in from various clubs. Nathaniel Peters, a good line out there from Tukapa. The two Porteous boys working really well there. Mason to Corbin on that occasion. Mason back in a position, and he slams it downfield. And that may have gone a little bit too far, has it? No, it just holds up into the end goal. That is a goal line dropout.
It was a nice little kick. Nearly bounced sort of towards the sideline. However, we'll go to a goal line dropout, so a pretty good outcome regardless, Will, for Tukapa. as we move into that sort of 10-minute phase either side of half-time in the round-robin match between these two sides. Clifton really capitalised either side of half-time, and I think whoever wins that bout either side of the half-time oranges will be a key moment in this match.
Yeah, that's a great call. And about 9 minutes to go. Tukapa still with the advantage here. And what can they conjure up here? Riccatelli running onto it. Again, Mike Kainga having to hold him up there. Woodmass, they're getting pretty good ball here, the two halfbacks, so both teams really disciplined at the ruck. Samupu up to the 22. There's Edwards now on the charge. O'Carroll, Harmy with the tackle, and they switch it again. Ratamatavuki Neepkins, and there's Croswell out the back door. Oh, that's a great pass, and Miles has left that behind, and a knock-on is the call there from Cam Stone. Miles obviously not happy, and certainly he'll let us know about that if there's a discrepancy.
That's right, he wears his heart on his sleeve, does Henry Miles, the Tukapa captain. One of the most competitive men you'll ever meet. He certainly brings his energy to the game, and he's going to be a dangerous man on that right-hand flank for the remainder of this game. Croswell making a good little inroad and trying to get the hand out the back door, but just going to ground, although making good inroads and some sort of probing work from Mitchell Croswell, who of course brought up 100 games for Tukapa a couple of weekends ago.
So Riccatelli down. Georgia Quiche, the physio there, was actually at the Fio game just before, so she's had to race over like myself. And of course the Fio unfortunately going down to North Harbour 21-10 in their first game of the Farah Palmer Cup.
Of course, remember to get your Yarrows Taranaki Bulls memberships. $60 for adults, $30 for childs. Includes tickets to 2 blockbuster matches at Pukekura Park this year, Will. Great to get back there for another historic occasion, and of course, hopefully back to Yarrow Stadium for the final 3 matches as well. So you also get free access to the home playoffs if Taranaki, of course, make it. So based on last year's form, we'll be hopeful that they make it to that phase of the competition.
And most of those guys back too, which is exciting for Taranaki Rugby in the province. Obviously Neil Barnes back in charge.
All good.
And good to see too that Barnesy has rewarded a lot of these club players with contracts, and we've mentioned them so far today. Matty McKenzie, Daniel Rona, Liam Blyde and Josh Setu, and of course for Tukapa there's a number of them
Nathaniel
as well.
Peters as well.
Yeah, he was a good addition.
That's right, yep. Of course, New Zealand under-20s in the 2021 brigade alongside Jacob Ratamatavuki Neepkins, both out of Francis Douglas, and they're obviously in the Taranaki squad now as well. So good to see good club form rewarded by Neil Barnes.
Yeah, it gives players an incentive, doesn't it? So good to see. So time is back on, and after that knock-on the far side of the field from the captain Henry Miles from Tukapa, Clifton will feed it in. And it will be Liam Blyde. It's always hard, these defensive scrum situations. Not a lot of room to work with, but Clifton will do their best to get out of trouble here.
He doesn't need a lot of space. The competition's leading try scorer with 10, so he's like a little jack in the box as Liam.
Crouch!
Yeah. Good sevens player in his day too. And of course the brother of Michaela Blyde. There's the brother though, Cole, off the back of the scrum.
Now Mitch out, Mitch out! You're not there uplifting early enough.
Stone getting the players out there. Got to be there first, and James under a bit of pressure from Thomas Edwards, and he clears. And that's not a bad clearance considering up towards the 22. But Clifton still not out of danger. 32 minutes gone. Tukapa still with a 10-7 lead.
Numbers are good. Hold. Get back.
Riccatelli throws.
Advantage lost forward, Clifton.
Clifton getting up and really competing at line-out time, which is good to see. But Tukapa on their 22. Here's Porteous now. Straight into Matty James and Reece Gray. Woodmass out to... That's Lucas Halls now. And they've got the turnover to Clifton. That's Reece Gray over the ball. He's been doing that all season. Very, very good reward there for Clifton. And they can get out of trouble here.
Great work there over the ball from Reece Gray, a former New Plymouth Boys High School first 15 player, really showing his wares at the breakdown there and giving Clifton a nice little exit with Matty James looking for touch.
And a good clearance there too for Clifton. Connor White to throw. And not a bad option though, having the six throwing in, because if there's an injury or subs or what have you, he can then come in and slot into the front row, so he's got that capability. Of course, Jared Prophet named at hooker for Clifton, but as you said, Sam, throwing the book out the window and doing their own thing. Here's Rona, tackle around the shoulder, but Stone says that is okay. And Blyde now to clear box kick, and finally they get inside Tukap's half.
Advantage, offside.
Referee playing advantage. A couple of players in front there. Jacob Ratamatavuki Neepkins bangs it downfield. And yeah, it's an area though that the referees are really tight on.
Oh, now you're calling offside.
Players in front of the kicker.
What about the other team? That's a scrum.
Spectators obviously not quite in agreement there, Will. But that's the nature of the beast, isn't it? With rugby, there's always different interpretations. But, of course, got to be careful with the offside on that chasing player. And Cam Stone naturally...
you've got the option of a scrum where
Be interesting to see what Tukapa do here. Do they go for the points, or do they pole the pressure on and try and score some points just before that half-time break?
Yeah, they're going for the line out here. Porteous aiming for that corner. So with 5 minutes to go in the first half of the CMK Premiership Grand Final, it's a very important stage of the first half.
Great to see the embankment full in the background there as well, Will, isn't it?
Oh, it's outstanding. Always heavily supported these days. Of course, if a club's not involved, they turn up and support the union and also the game of rugby. Croswell takes it at the top of the line out and trying to get the drive going, but Clifton so far pushing them lateral.
It's one.
And there's the warning there from Stone. Ricky Riccatelli has it at the back, so at least Tukapa have got a bit of control. Prophet coming around and trying to disrupt it. Edwards now has it at the back. Woodmass wants it. Otherwise it could be a turnover. Getting out into the back line again, and that's it. Samupu into Matty James. Quick ball here. Porteous change of direction. Is it Connor White trying to get over the ball? But they move it away, and maybe a little bit of an obstruction there. Stone said it didn't make an impact, so they're playing on. Porteous in number 5.
Leave the ball!
Head down. Woodmass. Edwards waits for it. Good tackle there coming across from Clifton. That was Cole Blyde. Pomari Samupu dangerous. This close to the line. And he's almost there, I think. Referee playing advantage. They may have been offside. They move it out to the left-hand side. That's a try. Great reward there. He can place it. And who's coming up with it? I think it might be Jacob Ratamatavuki Neepkins. He gets a brace. Tukapa extend that lead on the stroke of halftime.
That's right, Will. We go to the replay here. They find Jacob Ratamatavuki Neepkins close to the line, and he's hard to stop from that close. But it was really the decision to go to the line that paid dividends for Tukapa. Obviously, we talked about the either side of half-time being a critical phase in the game. Tukapa have gone to the line and they've reaped the benefit from that.
Yeah, it's just patience, isn't it? And back in their set piece, 15-7 with a kick to come. Porteous eyeing up his second of the afternoon. He's already slotted a penalty earlier on.
He's been a reliable performer for Tukapa, has Porteous, obviously filling the big shoes of Jason Potros in the number 10 jersey for Tukapa today, and he's done a really good job so far.
So a position that's relatively handy. So at the moment, Clifton will need to score twice, and that lead extends there. Mason Porteous extends the lead here in the CMK Premiership Grand Final.
Tukapa now leads 17, Clifton
17-7 is the score. 2 minutes to go, just shy of.
Time's on.
And Jacob Ratamatavuki Neepkins picking up his second try of the afternoon. And he scored last week in the semi-final as well. Intercept try that. Tukapa though, knocking the ball on from that kickoff. So Clifton have a bit of time with ball in hand just before half-time. Motahu Leota cuts back in field.
It's off his foot.
And it's off his foot, so that's okay.
No advantage.
And they were playing advantage, though, for the knock-on from the
Change on
kickoff.
field for Clifton.
And
On
Stone will
comes
come back to
Kenny
the mark.
Naholo, number
It was a good short
22,
kickoff there
and he
from Matty
replaces
James.
number
Made it
11,
contestable,
Josh
and Clifton obviously getting up and making it tough for Mitchell Croswell, who just knocked it on. So we'll go to a scrum on the Tukapa 40.
Yeah, not sure if you heard at home the announcement from the ground announcer, but Kenny Naholo coming on in jersey 22 for Clifton in place of Josh Setu. So unsure if that is an injury or a tactical substitution. We know Kenny Naholo's attributes. 14 games for Taranaki, 1 game for the Chiefs and the Crusaders, and great to have someone of his experience coming on for Clifton just before. In fact, it's India Soatuahuta who has come off, so yeah, that's a big loss, but not a bad replacement though, is it?
That's right. Well, not a bad replacement to bring on. They've got a plethora of outside backs to choose from, have Clifton.
Start!
I'm sure we'll find out what happened to India. Hopefully he's okay. He's had a great season though. Right, so scrum there, and this is Daniel Rona now. Behind play they go. Matty James injects, puts the foot down. Here's Naholo. Can he make an impact? No, he can't. The touchline wins the race on that occasion.
Well, it was nearly one of those moments as we go to the replay. No one in front of him, and the ball just beating him over the boundary for 4 runs.
And a man who has played a little bit of cricket, Ricky Riccatelli, to throw it in.
That's right, of course, played a bit of cricket for the FDMC first 11 and a couple of matches for Taranaki as well. Well,
good batsman.
Handy little bat, yep.
We're about to
The white rhino.
full half time.
Yep. So, taking a bit of time to set this line out here, as the time has ticked over 40 minutes. And it will be Tukapa potentially going into the half-time break with that 17-7 advantage. And here's the throw. And Woodmass just happy to kick it out after Tukapa won the line out. And Cam Stone says we'll have oranges at half-time here at Vogeltown Park. CMK Premiership Final. Tukapa, who are the number 2 seeded team heading into this final with the advantage, 17 points to 7. And Sam, before we just go to a break, your assertions on the first half here this afternoon.
Well, really good contest first up, Will. Both sides looking to use the space, and we're seeing plenty of running rugby. But pretty even, 17-7 probably doesn't reflect the scoreline. Clifton probably had the best of the early encounters, but Tukapa finishing pretty strongly just before half-time with that try. 2 tries to Jacob Radamai, Tavuki and Eepkins. He's looked dangerous in any sort of space. But really, you know, plenty to play for in the second half.
And we'll take a bit of a breather here at Vogeltown Park. Thanks so much for your company. And we'll be back with the second half with Tukapa leading Clifton in the final, 17 points to 7. Back soon.
As we see there, Colin Cooper imparting his great wisdom onto the boys of Clifton at the halftime speeches.
Yeah, and they're down too, aren't they? Clifton trailing here 17-7 here at Vogeltown Park in the CMK Premiership Final. And we will take a look at some of the highlights from the first half. Just a couple of tries. And this is the first one from Clifton. It came from the set piece, and it was Cole Blythe, the number 8, who slid in under the bar to score. Referee in a good spot to award that one. That was the first one of the day. And Tukapa, Jacob Ratamaitavuki-Neepkin scoring his first of 2. Good to have him having an impact here this afternoon, Sam.
That's right, he's been explosive with any sort of space. And we see here with his second try, close to the line and just burrows down low. No one stopping him from there. Getting in under the defence and scoring Tukapa's second try of the day to take them to a 17-7 lead at the halftime break.
And Mason Porteous, a couple of conversions off the tee. He's got one and a penalty as well. And Matty James converted the one from right out in front for Clifton. So 17-7 is the buffer. As we take a look at the surroundings here at Vogeltown Park, a subdivision there in the centre of screen. And we pan down towards Vogeltown Park. A fantastic crowd. Tukapa's ready to go. And a few incentives for people watching this game, Sam, who might be thinking about heading along to support Taranaki this year.
That's right, of course. Remember to get your Yarrows Taranaki Bulls membership. $60 for adults, $30 for childs. Includes 2 tickets to those games at Pukekura Park, of course. One of Wisden's top 5 cricket grounds. A lovely place to watch any sort of sport. We were, of course, there last year where Taranaki beat Hawke's Bay in that match. So good to get back there and get 2 in this year. So it'll be awesome. So remember to get your memberships and get along to that.
Yeah, it should be a cracker. A sellout last year, wasn't it? And we know what it's like when we play cricket there and watch cricket there. And even better, I reckon, when there's a little bit of rugby on there as well.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Will, but it was great to see Veneriki Tikuri Suleimani score that final try down the left-hand flank there as we kick off into the second half.
It's hard to keep up with them too. Rightio, here's Kinina Holo. Very close to scoring a try when he came on late in the first half.
Stay on.
So underway here, Liam Blythe declared. I don't think there has been any changes apart from that late one in the first half where Kinney came on. So a line out on the far side of the field. Tukapa, who scored that try just before half-time, will throw, courtesy of Riccatelli. Looking like all the low numbers on at the moment, but they'll certainly glare their heads out when the game carries on. So Price goes up with it. Now into the backline, Porteous now, who's actually played really well. There's his brother Corbin, involved in rowing as well, which is good to see him playing a lot of sports. Isaac Ratamaitavuki-Neepkins, Mark Kainga trying to hold him up. And they move it away to this open side. There's Dent, who was a late change. He was originally on the bench, then brought in to start for Scott Mallow. And Pomari Samupu going around a couple of defenders.
Leave it, Reese.
Clifton trying to get over the wall, but told to get out of it. Jacob Ratamaitavuki-Neepkins, a hat-trick could be on the line here for the young man. Porteous with another charge up towards the 10-metre line. Again, yeah, they get the penalty. Reece Gray over the ball, and he was told to get off it earlier, but this time he wins it for Clifton.
He's made 2 of those pivotal turnovers at the breakdown. Has Reece Gray and the number 7 jumper for Clifton, doing a fine job at the breakdown and really disrupting Tukapa's sort of free-flowing game.
Yeah, well, he's obviously improved his game as the year goes on, because he was on the bench for Clifton in the early stages. Oh, the flag is up. Could have been interesting.
It's all happening.
Yeah. It's a good kick, though, inside the 22. But yes, no, Reece Gray benched earlier in the season, and then Cooper was obviously happy with him to get the nod to start. So good reward for the young man. As Connor White to throw. Again, either side of the break, really key. Good line out, though. James, there's Setu. Liam Blythe again. Past a couple of one-off runners. There's Gray, who we were just talking about. Marketing out Laporte, trying to get over the ball with no cigar. James again. Morahu Leota wrapped up. And it's just a little, no, it's a penalty. No clear release there. Apologies for Cam Stone just breaking up on that far side of the field though, but it's good that his signals are good. We can understand what the decision was. And 5 out here, Sammy.
Well, they're going for the full Monty. They're looking for the try, and it would make it a really interesting sort of start to the second half. Obviously, Tukapa winning that last 10 minutes in the first half. Who's going to win the second stand, or the first part of the second half stanza?
Yeah, 10-point buffer. And White to throw. He's got Shorter, Boy, and Blythe is the one that eventually goes up with it, and he's all been taken out there. But I think that's okay. Rona stretching out, busting through and scoring. A vital moment in this game. Clifton score on the right side of the break, and they narrow that margin 17-12 with a kick to come. Daniel Rona, the try scorer.
Well, it was a destructive run right over the top of them. Out of my way, he says, and over he goes for Clifton's second try of the day.
Jason Potros with his arms folded just behind the deep ball line, not happy about that.
Very disapproving look there in the background, wasn't it, Will?
Yeah. So a kick to come.
Most of the neutral spectators will be pretty happy with that one.
Oh,
Makes
yeah.
it very interesting as we go into the second half.
Conversion successful.
The reliability of Matty James's kick.
17, Clifton 14,
And they draw it back 17-14, 44 minutes gone. Daniel Rona with his first meat pie of the day.
You can see there again, sides being rewarded for going for the full Monty, not wanting the 3. And we saw Tukapa do it just in the end of the first half, and Clifton there returning serve.
So Mason Porteous to get play back underway here at Vogeltown Park after they've conceded that try. And he gets nice height on the restart as well. Shorter going up with it, a little bit sloppy, but it falls on the same side though of Tukapa. Woodmass is there, Ricky Riccatelli. And they go beyond a couple of one-off runners again. Isaac, that's Jacob Ratamatavuki Neatkins. Down to McKenzie, no mark taken, but he bangs it inside his 22, and they get the line out around about the halfway mark.
Well, shades of Shane Austin's famous high dropouts of the kickoff there from Mason Porteous. Very good little kickoff, but a nice little exit and return from Clifton, and we'll go to a Tukapa throw on the halfway mark.
Yeah, great memory. And Shane Austin's still around. As the line out is good there from Tukapa. Set piece for both teams have actually been very, very good. And they have still got the ball there. Woodmass, over it goes to Porteous now. Rona, who scored that try, trying to get over the ball. Woodmass back there to Halls again. Kanina Holo and Morahu Leota. 2-on-1 tackle. Thomas Edwards rumbling it forward up to where the defence is. And there's Isaac Ratamatavuki Neatkins. He can release it and go again. Clifton trying to get over the ball. Riccatelli is in the back line. Nice pass to Samupu. Numbers away here to the right-hand side. Henry Miles in from the wing. Switching it back to that left-hand side. Porteous with a charge. Kainga trying to get over it. But a good clean out, though, coming from Tukapa. Croswell to Lapor. And Nathaniel Peters losing the ball into touch. And I think it may have been knocked on. And just see what the decision is here. If it is knocked on into touch, they've got the option of the line out or the scrum.
The scrum option.
And they've taken the scrum option.
Great to have a referee on board to know those little intricacies, Will. So you're right, we'll go to a scrum. We will have O'Carroll Harmy up against Brendan Dent on the near side. It's been a good little contest at scrum time. No one's really gained the ascendancy, either of the teams really, so it's allowed that free-flowing play from both of the backlines to really come into the game.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of contest, but it's hard to determine who's dominant. And that's how it should be. Both teams at full strength, probably apart from Jason Potros missing from Tukapa, but Mason Porteous does not look out of place.
No, he's done a very good job. He's been versatile and reliable all season for Tukapa, and come in and done a really good job so far in the number 10 jumper.
So a scrum on the 22 for Clifton.
Set!
Defending scrum though, they're inside their own half. Blythe to feed, and Cole Blythe, his brother, his twin, off the back of the scrum.
Release,
Woodmass
release.
and Porteous have to make the tackle. And they can set it back here for the clearance kick. James into position again. It's got to be charged down. Porteous now. Easy. Is it? No. Good tackle. It's loose at the back. And Matty James runs away with it. That is great work from Clifton to scramble back. But Porteous with the charge down. It could have been all over from a try perspective.
As we go to the replay there, the charge down from Porteous, the bounce just sort of eluding him to the left-hand side, which made it hard to regather and go under the post. Of course, he would have been eyeing that up, but you show the importance of determination there by Matty James, getting back and covering up his mistake beautifully.
Oh, goodness me.
It was nearly one of those moments.
Certainly was.
Time on.
And a couple of replacements as well, as we heard. Chris Jollins, I beg your pardon.
Time's on, Mitch.
At the University of Aberdeen on for Tukapa in jersey 19. And Maringa Lapor in jersey 6 walking off on the right-hand side. So again, another good line out there from Tukapa. Here's Porteous now running onto it. Jollins couldn't quite grab it. In fact, Jollins may have knocked that on. And we do have another scrum here. 17-14 is the score, 48 and a half minutes gone. I reckon this is going to be a great second half coming up.
We've got a great contest on our hands here, Will. It's all to play for in the CMK Chartered Accountants Taranaki Premier Final.
Scrum here. I've got to be somewhere, and I'm going through the D-line.
You said it was sort of $1.30, Clifton, $1.80 at the start. Well, I'm saying $1.60 each probably at the moment.
Yeah, good call. Head-to-head betting, it's always changing. Two front rows having a bit of a disagreement.
Yes.
Always got to have a bit of banter between the two, don't you?
Well, when you've got Kainga and Riccatelli and Prophet there, they're never short of a couple of words. And you've got a couple of the loose forwards there for Tukapa. Gray and Croswell as well. They can have a chip in as well, which is always good to see. But all very good off the field, as it is an 8-9 play. And a switch too here for Clifton. James. Daniel Rona already scored a try. Here's Setu down the left-hand side. Eyeing up Daniel Rona. Passes back in field. Matty James. Tackle though from Jollins. Neepkins and co. Referee playing advantage. They came in offside. Laid back there. And Clifton have a chance to score back-to-back tries. Number 17 is Boy. And the ball is still being kept alive. James are under advantage, so can kick over the top for Naholo. Taken out in the air, but they'll come back for that.
I've got it.
And it could be a bit more than a penalty on the cards here, Will. Jollins just looked like he lost his feet at that breakdown.
He's dropped it back right diving off your feet over the ruck, which you can't do.
And we can hear Cam Stone now. I think Jollins, who just came on, has been given a yellow card. That is a big moment in this game. Jollins sent to the bin for 10 minutes.
Yeah, he was sort of over the ball for a spell there, but just lost his feet at the key moment. And of course, referee Stone not missing out and seeing that and pointing it out there that he just lost his feet at that key moment.
Well, Croswell not happy about that.
Time off.
But it's the margins that they're dealing with here in finals rugby. And Clifton certainly had that break from Setu and 14 at the bottom of the screen. And a couple of injuries, I think, out there, so we'll take a breather.
Yellow card there to Tukapa's number 19, Chris Jollins.
Some nice hands down the left-hand flank there from Clifton, with Josh Setu making some incisive runs, and Matty James back on the inside. The wise old head in the number 10 jumper for Clifton. Of course, played for Manawatu. Spent a lot of time overseas. He was sort of same era as Dan Carter. I was talking to Taylor Haskell in the week, and he sort of said, you know, he heard there was this young guy coming up through the Canterbury ranks and decided to head overseas. So probably a good decision, obviously, based on how Dan Carter's career panned out. But he's obviously done a fine job in the number 10 jumper for Clifton this year.
Great to have a man of that experience in the club guiding these young guys. And talking to Blyde on the radio this morning, love passing to Matty James. Just that, the leadership of the man and clearly running the cutter.
Bind!
So we're about 7 or 8 minutes, metres out from the line. Clifton, a numerical advantage. Blyde now has a bit of a snipe. Setu in from the wing. Josh Setu attempts to get it. Has he got it? Stone diving through. Players have got their arms in the air celebrating, and I'm not sure if he scored that try.
Walk away. Walk away.
I don't know.
Walk away. Time off.
30-second spray and walk away by the looks. As Stone deliberates.
So we'll see what the decision is.
It's held up. Held up.
And it is held
Line
up.
drop out.
Shades of that game at Tukapa last season against Coastal.
Drop
where
out.
The kick went under and they weren't sure if it went dead, and there was a bit of deliberation over that one. So
Tell me about it.
we'll go to the dropout though.
Yeah, great intent though from the back of the scrum. Josh Setu, ever so close, but a held up call. Stone was in a great spot. He sort of dove in to try and have a bit of a look, yeah. Anyway, Kenny Naholo has it on the far side, gets out of one.
Out.
And it is there for Liam Blyde. A little bit slow for his liking though. And he distributes to Kainga. Nice little tip on to Connor White. Blyde reaching in and grabbing it. Another switch, they like that in its quick hands there. There's Naholo with his distinctive shorts on underneath, or strapping, or whatever you want to call it. And they rumble it up towards the 22-metre line. Clifton on attack. They go behind play. McKenzie. There's Setu. Bumps off one. Off to Gray. And they could be held up here. Jacob Ratumaitavuki Neepkins with that. And Riccatelli's in there involved as well. And great work holding them up. If it can't come out straight away, it's a turnover.
Tukapa getting away with one there, Will. Of course, we didn't have the 5-metre scrum for the held up on that occasion, and the dropout giving them a fairly sort of comfortable exit. Although Kenny Naholo making some good busts on that right-hand flank. What's your view on those dropouts rather than having the 5-metre scrum? I think it's an easy let-off for what's, a lot of pressure on the 5-metre scrum.
Go, guys.
Tukapa getting away with one there.
Absolutely, and you're disadvantaging the team that gets over the line, in my view. But a defensive team can say, no, it's a good reward for us for holding it up. But we have to be careful in rugby. We don't go down the league rule side of things. You know, we've already got the 50-22 in play, which can work for good kicking teams. But the goal line dropout as well, it's one of those ones where you could probably do without.
It's interesting the sort of behaviours it incentivises. And you see with the 50-22, often the winger has to drop back to cover, and that can create space to run the ball out wide. So it's always interesting how these different rules play out with, how the game actually pans out.
And us as refs, we have to be very vigilant around the 50-22. We've seen a couple of examples in club rugby where it has been missed because it is new, and certainly teams try to exploit that.
Must admit, it's duped me a couple of times, Will.
Yeah. Rightio, it's in the back line. There's Isaac Ratumaitavuki. Neepkins, he skins Naholo on the outside, and then he's bundled into touch. Good run, though, down that far flank. And it will be a line out there to Clifton by the looks of it.
Scrum, guys.
In fact, it's been knocked on, has it? Into touch, possibly?
Touch, taking the scrum.
Yeah, that's the call. Good to have the comms from the ref.
Back and forth, to and fro. Plenty going on, Will. Both sides really throwing it at each other here. Really worthy hallmarks of a classic final.
Yeah, this is a great game.
As we see a bit of the Tukapa faithful in the background there. Both teams really well represented in the crowd today, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And just from that drone footage, you can see the massive crowd that's come in. 3,000 to 4,000 people. There it is. And a great view of the scrum as well. We're on the far side in the caravan.
Check.
So a scrum here to Clifton. Liam Blyde. Off it goes now into the back line. Nice loopy pass. Gone backwards, it's okay. Setu has to tidy up. Good comms here from Stone just to keep the ball moving. Setu runs through a couple and then eventually taken to ground. Blyde gets slow ball though. James, boot to ball for McKenzie. Bounces into touch.
Come on, boys.
There was a bit of space out on that left-hand flank, but the pass just going awry. And Matty James puts boot to ball, and we'll go to a Tukapa line out.
So 17-14, and we've got around about just under 6 minutes for Chris Jollins to come back on. Of course, sent to the bin for that cynical play. Nathaniel Peters goes up for it, Tukapa with ball. He's Henry Miles running onto it up towards the halfway line. We've seen that a lot very hard run. Not a tall character, but a very tough midfield come winger. Utility back, as you'd call him. Here's Jacob Ratamativuki-Neepkins trying to go around the outside. And it is there for Woodmass. Riccatelli. Rona with the tackle. Good support there from the men in blue and white. There's Miles again. Blyde with the tackle, and he rolls out really nicely. Dent, a late addition into the run on 15. Woodmass change of direction as they go away to that left-hand side. There's Edwards, who's come up from Canterbury and slotted in really well into this Tukapa side. Price is there to help out with the drive. And they're getting good metres here. Riccatelli rumbling it forward. Paddy O'Carroll-Harmy with the tackle. First receiver is Isaac Ratamativuki-Neepkins. There's Luke Taplin, the replacement back. Scored a try in the semi-final last weekend. Woodmass is there again. And nice phases here, but as the phase count increases, there can be potential errors, and we've seen one of them. Helter-skelter stuff.
The Clifton defence holding together nicely there. Tukapa putting together a lot of phases, but really holding their structure, not letting any gaps sort of open up. Doing a really good job there.
So another stoppage.
As we move into the final quarter now, 4 minutes left in the bin for Chris Jollins. Tukapa will be looking to go through unscathed for the last 3 minutes of that sort of spell for him. (17-14). And you can't really separate these two teams on paper. With across the whole season, the same win-loss record. Played 11, won 10, lost 1. Clifton's loss came to Inglewood in the Moanga pool. They were leading that match quite comfortably, but they lost 35-26. And Tukapa's loss came against Clifton a couple of weeks ago, 36-15 at Sanders Park. But Clifton, the number 1 seeded team in the second round, unbeaten. And you can see why. During the year, Henry Miles may have knocked that one on, though. There's an advantage being played. Matty James to kick downfield. Advantage is over now. Jacob Ratamativuki-Neepkins sizes up his options. Aiming for the 50-22 like we were talking about before. But the bounce of the football, it does. It sits up actually quite well for Tukapa. Lucas Halls was quick to pounce on that. They get the turnover, though, to Clifton. And crawling, I think, is the decision. And Stone's not going to change his mind. So you're going to release the ball straight away. That's right. He just crawled a little bit there, did Halls. And James will look to find touch.
No, clearance kick there. And a good one too between the halfway and the 10-metre line.
I've got 30 seconds.
So 20 minutes to play here this afternoon. And it's going to be interesting to see with slight hesitation, but it's one against the throw here. Price goes up and gets it on the 15-metre line. Woodmass to Riccatelli. He's been busy today. Trentani Boy with the tackle there. Woodmass directing the troops, and here we go. A box kick coming up, one would assume. Yes.
Wing is good.
Everyone's onside. McKenzie. Reliable at the back today. He's been under pressure a couple of times, but he breaks away from a few. And Nathaniel Peters, though, makes the tackle. On the way to that, over on that right-hand side, here's Kenny Naholo. He finds Motahu Leota, stabs it downfield. Henry Miles, though, picks it up for Tukapa. And Woodmass over to Ratamativuki-Neepkins. That's Jacob into the oncoming defence. Woodmass there to pass it back to Porteous. In fact, he's going to do it himself. Bangs it downfield over the top. And they move it away to Setu, who again returns the favour. Haven't seen a 50-22 today. The bounce not going the team's way. Ratamativuki-Neepkins clears for touch, and a little bit of force back there being played, Sam, and we'll have another line out.
A little bit of force back, of course. There's been plenty of running rugby, so got to get the kicks in every now and then, but Miles did a fine job collecting that one off the bootlaces earlier in the play, because it was looking dangerous with Moehu Leota making good ground down the right-hand flank. Moehu Leota was offered a Warriors junior contract in the NRL. He's got a rugby league background, but obviously opting to stay in Taranaki, but good to see him playing the union code as well.
Fantastic, yeah. Committed to Clifton. Blyde, under a little bit of pressure, slings it out to Prophet, who's actually been a little bit quiet today, old Jared Prophet, but he's there for that experience. Rona's spotted a little bit of space at the back and kicks it ahead. Taplin, though, does well to get back onto his feet after tidying that one up. Here's Isaac Ratamaitivuki Neepkins. But it has been turned over again. Rona goes in and grabs that one. And Matty James kicks it downfield. It's not a great kick. Does find a little bit of space in the back, though, for Tukapa. Jacob Ratamaitivuki Neepkins running hard, as he has done all season. We've seen that not only for Tukapa, but for the Blues and also for Taranaki as well. Woodmass to Peters. Woodmass back in a position again. And Riccatelli loves to be in the back line. Back to Halls, another switch play. 3-on-1 there. Woodmass going in and grabbing it. Thomas Edwards. Carol Harmy attempting to get over the ball but can't do so. Moving the ball out. Ratamaitivuki Neepkins. Here's Croswell, ball in one hand. Flicks it off to Taplin. He flings it back inside and Price is there. And eventually into touch. Claiming that Matty James took him out in the air, but nothing in that one. And we can take a break again.
Showing plenty of endeavour to keep the ball in hand as we go to the replay. Taplin throwing it back in. Price doing a good job, but being taken out there by Matty James. No issue of being taken out in the air.
Nah.
Price naturally pointing out the option. But no, well called there by Cam Stone.
Okay, sorry, we aren't.
There's a couple of replacements and so forth coming on, I think, and time is off as Tukapa scoring a couple of tries so far today. Clifton 2 tries, and the kick's really the difference at the moment. And of course, Tukapa with the extra try.
Nothing in it, Will, into the last quarter of the last dance, as they say. 17-14, the lead to Tukapa.
Is on for Patio Carol Harmy, number 19.
So you may have heard, Api Dawai on for Patio Carroll. Dawai a 19, front row replacement. Patio Carroll, reliable front row for Clifton, and Liam Blyde said that he has been one of the form props in the competition this year. So Connor White to chuck it in. Blyde to Blyde. In that movement there, James thought about kicking and then delays the pass. And there's Dawai making an impact straight away. He's got Reece Gray with him. And he could go himself here. Dawai. Jacob Neepkins again making the tackle at the back. But Clifton making a lot of movement. And they get it out into the back line again. Flinging the ball out. There's Cole Blyde trying to get around the outside. Lays it back there. Connor White has to go on and play halfback. Liam Blyde a little bit slow to get there. James moving it away. Rona eyeing up 2 tries. Daniel Rona, he's going to get it. Spectacular finish next to the posts. Game on here at Vogeltown Park. Clifton take the lead.
Well, it will say Rona in the paper on Monday morning, but you can rub it out and write Api Dawai, because what a break that was earlier on. He's come on the bench and made a huge impact. Daniel Rona there straightening the attack, going against the current, and finishing off nicely for his second try to take Clifton into the lead as we head into this last quarter.
Fantastic period of play. Matty James, though, held the ball, thought about kicking, delayed the pass, and that put Dawai into space. A kick to come here with 14 minutes remaining here at Vogeltown Park. There's been, I must say, in Cam Stone's 100th Premier match, no whistle. It has been a fantastic spectacle. And usually in finals, people can be a little bit maybe complacent and conservative around the breakdown, but today both teams are willing to throw the ball out wide.
That's right, Will. Both teams really willing to play. Plenty of running rugby. Great for the viewer, and a really good spectacle here in the CMK Taranaki Chartered Accountants Premier Club Rugby Final.
Matty James adds to the extras, 21 points to 17 here at Vogeltown Park with 13 or so minutes remaining here. Clifton, their last title coming in 1999, 11 titles to their name. Tukapa won the competition last in 2020, a shortened season, and 17 titles to their name. 3 titles in the last 6 years, and Tukapa, going by the statistics, a more reliable finals record as Mason Porteous gets things back underway here. 21-17, Daniel Rona picking up his second try of the afternoon. Matty James to clear from inside his own half. Jacob Ratumaitavuki-Neepkins back at fullback with his 2 wingers on either side, and he bangs it downfield. James back though.
To me, Clifton, come to me.
22.
Stay.
And he hasn't found touch. No, he hasn't. Isaac Ratumaitavuki-Neepkins returns the kick. Met though by Setu. In fact, it may have been Liam Blythe there, as Connor White has to go on and play halfback again for the second time. And knock on there, Mike Kainga knocks it on, but it's a game now of field position. And with 12 or so minutes to go, that's what they're going to be playing for, right areas of the park.
We've talked about how both sides have been really willing to play the whole game. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out in this last 10 minutes as, you know, teams look to, you know, in Clifton's case, hammer home their advantage and close the game out, and in Tukapa's case, look to score an elusive try to take the lead.
Not quite the shape it was 5 years ago.
Bit of banter there from Cam Stone. It's looking in pretty good nick to me, Will.
He's a fit character.
Of course, we forget that our referees have to be in impeccable fitness as well. They've got to get through a lot of yards during a match.
Particularly on a day like this.
That's right.
There's been a lot of free-flowing rugby. The weather has been fantastic. That's a great scrum, though, but they haven't gone straight, though. Woodmass goes quickly. No, Stone's going to bring him back.
Well,
it's the angle, isn't it? They've already been penalised.
Just boring in there, yes. Yep. They've been. They can almost taste it after not receiving a title this century for Clifton. They can almost taste it. You know, it's almost like the halcyon days of 1999 for the Clifton faithful. They'll be looking forward to hopefully closing it out in this final 10 minutes.
Yeah, and they broke New Plymouth Old Boys 6 in a row when they won that title in 99. Sammy Callaghan slotting a drop kick to win it in the dying moments. It's on YouTube. It's actually great coverage, isn't it?
Some good footage, Will.
Yeah. Some of the Clifton punters enjoying a couple of lemonades on the far side of the field. Croswell goes up for it, and they'll get the drive going here. The shunt initially coming from Clifton.
Stay on those last man's feet.
Riccatelli, though, has it at the back. Mike Kainga's got to be careful. Yep, and
he's through the middle.
Signalled that as well. It goes down. Woodmass, though, and they go beyond Henry Miles. It's a little bit awkward at the back. Ratumaitavuki-Neepkins goes back towards the traffic and lays it back to set it up here for Woodmass. Jollins, the player in 19 for Tukapa, back on the field. And a penalty, though.
Offside.
Players offside, and Leighton Price screamed at the referee to put him in the bin like there was a player down there, but two different situations. As we have roughly 9 minutes to play.
It's a real difference.
Well, 20 years of waiting comes down to 10 minutes for Clifton now, Will. They'll be trying to hold their line stoutly in defence.
Oh, this is a massive moment in this game. But we can see already that Clifton, with the intent to drive, Tukapa back at line-out time.
Okay, back on.
So it'll be interesting to see if Tukapa will adjust that and get it out into the back line versus, beg your pardon, keeping it in the forwards. And they're going to keep it in the forwards through Mitchell Croswell. Look at the shot coming, though, from Clifton. But they've still got possession and, more importantly, control here. Do Tukapa driving towards the line. Who's got it at the back? Thomas Edwards and Ricky Riccatelli putting their head down. It's close to the line. There it is. Advantage being applied here against Clifton. They're up by 21-7. Drive to the line. Very close. Thomas Edwards looks up over the ball and he grabs it and has a crack himself. He's got Ricky Riccatelli at his backside. Waiting for it again is Tukapa. A massive moment in this game with 8 minutes to go in the final.
4. Yep, yellow card.
And there could be a yellow card coming up here to boot as well against number 4. That's Dawai. So we'll wait and see what happens here. Price has it at the back. He's got Croswell there. Two guys who have been outstanding for Tukapa during the 2022 season and also before as well. Another advantage being applied here against Clifton. They have to be very careful. Still got the ball. That's Croswell. Woodmass to Peters. Jollins is there. Defence so far is good. Boy has to make the tackle and gets out of it wearing jersey number 17. Riccatelli is there. Pleading for the advantage again. Not going to get it though. How long will they keep it in the forwards? The patience here for both teams so important. Croswell again. Another advantage coming. Someone has to go to the bin here, one would imagine. Riccatelli. This time they get it out. Porteous to Miles. Off it goes. Neekins! Jacob Ratumaitavuki Neekins slides in and he will score a hat-trick in the final.
Third try and hat-trick.
Drama here at Vogeltown Park.
Tukapa's number 15.
Tukapa take the lead again.
Wow, it was really well worked. Put a number of phases together, right hot on Clifton's line. The line-out drive made some good progress as we go to the replay now. And that's Jacob Ratumaitavuki Neekins getting the ball down and getting a deserved hat-trick in the final.
Far out, and I think Cam Stone might put someone in the bin here as well. As you can see him talking to Liam Blythe, the captain, just in front of the sticks. Is it a yellow card? I think it is coming up here. Big moment in this game. Cam Stone in his 100th. It's Dawai who's been put in the bin.
We had a collapsed maul and we had 4.
So Dawai giving a number of penalties away, and he'll be in the bin for the remainder of this final. Drama!
Well, he made such a fine impact in that try earlier with Clifton, did Dawai. A fine, probably 60-70 metre break, which set up the try. Unfortunately there, infringing at the rolling maul and being sent to the bin for 10 minutes. So he'll spend the rest of the game off the park, and Clifton will be left with 14 men for the remainder of this match.
Goodness me, 5.5 to go. Tukapa 22-21. Jacob Ratumaitavuki Neekins with his hat-trick.
We weren't even listening, which was a nuisance.
Porteous with the kick to come, 15 in from touch. Just a little bit of cloud cover that's come over Vogeltown Park, but no wind. A little bit chilly out there as well for the boys. And he shanked that one across to the left-hand side of the uprights, so it's unsuccessful. Mason Porteous couldn't convert the try of Jacob Ratumaitavuki Neekins, but it's a 1 point difference here. Tukapa 22, Clifton 21, 4.5 to go.
You can't get much closer going into the final 5 minutes, Will. All to play for here for both sides. All the hours, all the Tuesday nights, Thursday night trainings come down to 5 minutes. This is what finals footy's all about.
Time on!
And now you rely on your experienced players, the Croswells, the Prices, the Blydes, the Ronas, the Jameses. This is where their impact comes in. And 4.5 to go. There's one we were just talking about. Leighton Price up towards the 22 from the restart.
Stay on.
Number 18 is Caleb Waho.
Wing is good.
On for Clifton. James coming in from the back. It's a good take. Taylor Haskell working at the rugby union. He's on in jersey 21 for Clifton as well. Blythe, could be an 80-minute performance for the young man. Distributes off to Connor White. Falls on the wrong side though, but does well to give the ball back to his team. Blythe to Prophet, and Jared Prophet making an impact up towards the 10-metre line here. And yeah, Tukapa get the penalty. Player over the ball. I think it was Luke Taplin. Cleanest guy on the field.
That's right. Well, he's been a really good performer for Tukapa all season. Scored that fine try in front of the Sanders Park faithful last week to seal it against Old Boys, and he's there over the ball to win a crucial penalty on his 40-metre line.
Time off. Blood here too.
So Woodmass has got a bit of blood, and Jared Prophet a little bit of cramp as well as we enter the final stages of the 2022 final. Yeah, Prophet's in a lot of pain. He's been running around.
Who's the match winners that can go the distance for Clifton here? They've got plenty of them, obviously. Those outside backs, Lee and Blythe, have been very dangerous all year. So plenty of match winners that can nab a late try to secure a victory for the men from Watcher.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that India Soatuahuta went off
we'll go forward
later stages of the first half, so that could be a bit of an impact in the top 3 try scorers of the year with 7. But you've still got Josh Setu on there, Marahu Leota, Daniel Rona, Matty McKenzie. Those backs who have been in form all year could be the difference. But equally, Tukapa up for the challenge as well. Pomari Samupu, Lucas Halls, the Neatkins boys at the back. Yeah, it's going to be a tight last 3.5 minutes here at Vogeltown Park.
Hold it on.
Plenty of match winners for both sides. I've been really impressed with Mason Porteous' game management though in the number 10 jumper. Coming up against Matty James, of course, with plenty of experience for Clifton. But he's done a fine job, obviously being called up late with the injury to Potros and done a really good job in that 10 jersey.
He can play 15 as well, can't he? So
very versatile.
Versatile. As Riccatelli throws it in one against the throw. That could be key. Blythe allowing it to bounce a little bit. Off to Setu now. Woodmass making the tackle. And then Tukapa getting over the ball. Stone telling him to leave it in his 100th Premier match. And a great occasion for him to notch up that milestone. Ball on that far side of the field now. Liam Blythe back into position. And in their own half, they have to be very, very careful they don't give away a penalty or make a mistake. Because as we know, Tukapa can pounce. There's Rona. There's a little bit of space, though, on that far side of the field as they go towards the Tukapa bench and the supporters. White. And Blues getting over the ball. But it is there again for Blythe. They go behind Gray to James now into the back line. Here is Setu, shorter. Back to Setu now. Good tackle, no, in fact, brushes off a couple of players there, and it is Nathaniel Peters in 7 who needs to make the tackle again.
Just come round the corner.
Give away a penalty, coming in from the side.
Come round the corner.
No, gone against either Peters or Riccatelli, but a good chance here for Clifton to clear.
Just coming in the side there, so Clifton will get a piggy bank up the field. Of course, a penalty will do it, so they're well within striking range. Any penalties within that sort of 50-metre zone is within Matty James's range, as we saw in the first half. So Tukapa will want to be hot on the heels of their discipline.
Three.
Absolutely.
Brendan. Yep.
Great shift from Brendan Dent. Obviously wasn't expecting to start, but getting through 78 minutes in the number 3 jumper, fine effort.
I think that's Liam Burnett coming on. And I think they're just going to do that one again.
Give me a chance to blow time on.
Of course, giving away a bit of weight against his opposite there, Liam Burnett, as ever. Up against Jared Prophet there, probably 80 kgs. The captain of the Tukapa under 85 kg side is Liam Burnett.
Yeah, they made the final last year, didn't they?
They did, and that's coming up again now. curtain raiser for the All Blacks Argentina match in a couple of months' time.
Fantastic incentive. Nathan Lawrence, the coach or the co-coach of this team, Tukapa coaching that side. So Clifton on the front foot, just outside their 22. There's Daniel Rona, already scored 2 tries today, a hat-trick. Beckons. Jacob Ratamaitavuki-Neepkins has already scored a hat-trick, if you're just joining us for this coverage.
Use it!
Blyde wanting to move the players around to this open side. There's his twin brother Cole. Another switch coming up here for Clifton. As we're almost at time up here, 22-21. Tukapa a numerical advantage with Dawai in the bin, remember, before they scored that last try. Jollins trying to get over the ball. He was binned earlier.
Stay there, stay there.
The crowd crying for a penalty as we tick over the 80-minute mark. 1 point in it here this afternoon. During the season, you could not separate these two teams. Waiting for it is White. Got the pass, and Ricky Riccatelli coming up very quickly, but he was deemed to be okay.
Hold here, guys, stay on.
Blyde to Rona. Surely a drop kick on the cards here like they did in 1999. It could be turned over though from Tukapa. The ball is there. This could be the match winner. Woodmass is there. Maybe a little bit of time to play. The turnover, I'm not sure who got it though. Absolutely crucial. Ricky Riccatelli, the hooter sounds as it's slow there at the back. Woodmass grabs it. Surely Blyde was offside. He's blown the penalty. That'll be the game. Tukapa will win it by the barest of margins. A 1 point buffer.
What a match. Well, you have to feel for Clifton. They've been the front runners all year, unbeaten after round 1. However, Tukapa deserved winners, winning their 4th championship in 7 years and their 8th this century, to go equal with New Plymouth Old Boys this century for title wins.
Mason Porteous, a man who was a late addition, bangs it into touch, and there's a little bit of how's your father after the game too, which is a shame because it's been very, very key. Nathan Lawrence wants to hug the players instead of fighting. And not a great sight because it has been a really good spectacle.
Your winners, Tukapa.
But Tukapa will win the title, their 18th title.
But also huge congratulations.
Everyone was against them.
Very great season by Clifton.
Everybody that we were talking to during the week picked Clifton, but Tukapa are the champions of 2022.
What a cracking match, Will. Doesn't get closer, as you say, 22-21. Fine effort from Tukapa, but you've got to feel for Clifton. They've been brilliant all year. You can see how they've played with a lot of self-belief. Colin Cooper's obviously done a fine job, and they've got a really good, strong contingent of players. Good core group that have done an excellent job bringing them way up the competition. But Tukapa just ahead on the day.
But it was a fantastic final. We've had hat-tricks, we've had players scoring 2 tries each. But at the end of the day, the score is the only thing that matters. Tukapa winning this game 22 points to 21. And on the other side of the coin, the dejection from Clifton.
It's small margins in sport, Will.
Oh, absolutely. And we knew it was going to go down to the wire. As the punters here leave. And we can take a look at the highlights of this second half. And it has been mouth-watering. In fact, we're going to have a look at the highlights all game. The first try of the afternoon was scored by Clifton. It was Cole Blyde underneath the post. It was a good, nice, patient build-up by the number 1 seeds. Jacob Ratamaitavuki-Neepkins scored one of his 3 tries early on as well. I think it was just before the break. But it was good to see those Super Rugby boys making an impact. Here's the second one that he's got. There was Ratamaitavuki-Neepkins' second one. Daniel Rona scored 2. That was his first. Just had to bust through the line. And he played really, really well today for Clifton. And this was probably the highlight. This is the second one. And it all came from a run by Api Dawai, who was put in the bin shortly after. That gave Clifton the lead. And that was Jacob Ratamaitivuki Neepkins' hat-trick. I think straight after that someone was put in the bin from Clifton. And that was really the difference of the game. So full time here, 22 points to 21. And at the Chook House tonight, Sam, there'll be a lot of celebrations as the fans come out onto the field.
That's right, Will. Plenty to celebrate for Tukapa, of course, but also a great season from Clifton. So they'll be, despite not getting over the line, they can be incredibly proud of their efforts today and throughout the season.
Absolutely. And the players just waiting for the presentation. We won't take that, unfortunately, but you can just imagine the celebrations that'll go long into the night here. And ironically, Tukapa winning the championship at their arch rivals' home ground, New Plymouth Old Boys. So that's rubbing salt into the wounds, isn't it?
Just adds a bit of spice to it as well, Will.
Yeah.
Big thanks to CMK, Chartered Accountants, the competition sponsor, been long-term sponsors of Taranaki Club Rugby and Taranaki Rugby. Remember to get your Yarrows Taranaki Bulls membership, $60 for adults, $30 for child. Of course, 2 games at Pukekura Park this year, and get you access to any home playoffs. Hopefully we'll still be around at that point of the competition. But remember to get in and get those.
Well, full time here at Vogeltown Park. It's been a fantastic final. We have seen free-flowing, entertaining rugby. Tukapa claiming the title. Their 18th overall, their first since 2020. And they win this match here at Vogeltown Park against Clifton, who were the #1 seeded team heading into this game, by 22 points to 21. And we've had a great day here. Shay has been producing, Rob's been in the tower, Sam's been commentating, we've had Billy doing the drone. It's been outstanding, but thank you so much for your time. The footage has been fantastic during the season, but the only thing that matters is Tukapa are the champions by 22 points to 21.
This live stream is sponsored by PSL, Sound, Light and Stage.